Like, what's going on in my body? I don't care about my lotus chakra and its unflowering of the universe, you know? A friend of mine had gotten back from boot camp. Like he had been in, he just enlisted with the Marines. He was gone for the month or so or whatever. And one of his wife now was one of my best friends. And we were the ones that were going to yoga all the time. And he was laughing at me. He's like, "Oh yeah, yoga's for girls, Garrett. Why are you going to yoga?" And I was like, "Just humor me. Just come one time and see what you feel." And sure enough, he goes, "Yeah, that was harder than some of the boot camp exercises that I was doing."
I think yoga can take itself a little bit seriously sometimes. So
don't take that, teacher. My advice, you find the person that's got the stick up their butt, you don't want to do that kind of yoga. The stick up your butt yoga, that's not fun. You got to be able to have a little bit of laughter. You got to be able to have like a sense of joy in what you're doing. You know, I've taken that class before where the teacher's like, "Hey everyone, don't do the Warrior 2 Brian's doing, because Brian's Warrior 2 sucks. Everyone look at his knee. It's all caved in."
Are you serious?
You know, there's a little bit of like public shaming and you're like, "Whoa, think I'm Brian right now." Or finding someone that you respect enough to, you know, be responsible guiding you. And if you're like, "Hey, this young 16-year-old teacher that who knows, they probably just graduated their TT is just telling me to flail my legs around in the sky and then telling me that I need to Instagram picture my dancers poses," like, if that resonates with you, go to that teacher. But if you are like, "Nah, I don't want to Instagram my dancers pose," like, go find a teacher that gets you just feel good, you know? I would say, like, go on YouTube and be like, "What is yoga for running? Like, what sport do you do, dude?" Look that up, yoga for whatever, because chances are there's a YouTube video on it. If not, let us know. We'll make a video for you.
We will.
The other thing too is like, find that friend, you know, it's probably a female, but there might be a dude friend that you got, but ask them like, "Hey, I am interested in yoga. Can you take me?" You know, I think a lot of times, like, especially in just getting my friends into it, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be doing my yoga DVD today. Like, do you want to come over and do some yoga with me? And then we'll hang out in the backyard or something."
The statistics are that only 3 out of every 10 yoga practitioners in America are men, and that's up from 2 out of 10 4 years ago. So it's getting better.
That's higher than the last time I heard that number.
It's getting better, but it's still, I mean, ideally it should be, you know, 50-50 or somewhere along those lines, right? So,
well, I know for me at least, like, I call it the third eye roll. Like, when I take a yoga class and it's like really fluffy, like my third eye does roll like a standard old like eye roll, you know? And so like I know I'm more like science-based and more like what's going on in my body? I don't care about my lotus chakra and its unflowering of the universe, you know? And so I think for a lot of men out there, I think we get turned off by some of the language that's used in class. I think, like, and you know, like, not to sound sexist or anything, but I think females largely are attracted to like the metaphorical side, you know, like, what's the poetry of this pose? And there's certain dudes that resonate with that too, obviously. But I think for us men, we're a little more on that concrete side. You know, what is the physical benefit? What is happening? Sometimes it's even like, what is my goal right now? Why am I holding this? If you have a class full of men, like say you are doing yoga for the local basketball team, you know, demonstrating will be far more powerful than verbal cueing to them. Versus like a group of maybe females, like you could get away with both and be just as effective. So there is like a difference in terms of how instruction can be effective based on the sexes. And I mean, it's men, right? The one-track mind, we have to see what's going on in front of us. Versus girls, you guys are a little better at like your multitasking. So you can take in the visual cues, but you can also take in the verbal cues and formulate the motor pattern, the exercise, the pose. A lot of what we know yoga today came from the 1920s with the slender Indian boys at the Mysore Academy or Palace. And it was hand-picked, you know? These were the guys that could do these crazy gymnastic-like movements, which there was gymnastic influence. There was, Greco-Roman wrestling was influence. Like, yoga, we looked at, like, in the past, you had maybe, like, you had mountain pose, you had lotus pose, and there was, like, I think a couple other ones that were, like, not, like, the 10 or the 20. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. And then flash cut Krishnamacharya 1920s, it's like yoga becomes a dance. Yoga becomes a little more all-encompassing with these more physical poses. And so you look at modern human versus slender Indian boy human, and it's like, yeah, maybe the dancer's pose isn't the greatest one for average Nancy that sits at a desk 40 hours a week.